Hello guys, welcome to today's class. So today we're talking about matrices. We're talking about matrices. So matrices, the first definition says that a matrix is a rectangular array of entries. A matrix is a rectangular array of entries. So and the second definition says that a matrix is a rectangular array of numbers that can be enclosed within bracket. A matrix is a rectangular array of numbers that can be enclosed within what brackets that can be enclosed within brackets. Why the third definition says that a matrix is a rectangular array of quantities. That quantities can be numbers, see the same thing as numbers, arranged generally in rows and column and enclosed within brackets. So the key word there is that it is a rectangular a matrix is a rectangular array of entries. It must be in a rectangular form, and a matrix is also enclosed within a bracket. It is enclosed within a bracket. And a matrix, another word for the quantities or the entries, is also a what, a number, and generally it is what, arranged in what, rows and column. A matrix is arranged in what, rows and column. Now, how to represent a matrix? So a matrix is not represented in this format. You don't represent a matrix like this. This is a So you don't represent a matrix in this format. This is a determinant. This is how we represent a determinant. So, but on our next class, we are going to talk about when we talk about determinant, you will understand why it is arranged in this format. So, you either write a matrix like this, or you write the matrix like this. So, but you don't write a matrix like this. You either write a matrix like this or like this, but not like this. This is what, a determinant. So, examples of matrix. Examples of matrix. So we have 2, 5, 1. This is an example of a matrix. So we still have 7, 0, 4. This is an example of a matrix. And also 5, 1, 3, 2, 4, 4 is also an example of a matrix. Now, if we take the matrix 2, 3, minus 5, and 1, if we take this matrix, now the number 2, this is number 2, the number 2, 3, minus 5, and 1 are called what? The element of a matrix. Now, in this matrix, the element of the matrix are 2, 3, minus 5, and 1. 2, 3, minus 5, and 1 are called what? The element of this matrix. The element of this matrix. Now, consider the following arrays of numbers. If you consider the following arrays of number, we have 3, 2, 4, 5. Now, 3 to 5, 3 to 2 is called what? The first row, and what? The second row. So the first row and what? The second row. Now, how do you know which one is to call the row and the column in a matrix? So that identify the row and also the column in a matrix. The row are always the horizontal, while the vertical is called what? The column. So for example, this is the row in this matrix. This is the row. This is the first row. This is the first row, and this is what? The second row. But if you want to identify the column, you say this is what? The first column, and this is what? The second column. So the first column runs from 3 to 4, the second column runs from 2 to 5, and likewise the first row runs from 3 to 2, and the second row runs from what, 4 to 5. So for example, there are what, how many rows? If I ask you now, in this matrix, how many rows and how many columns are here? So you can just looking at it, know that this is what, the first row 1, this is the second row 2, so therefore there are what, 2 rows, and this is the first column 1, the column runs vertically 1 and 2, so therefore there are what, 2 rows and what, 2 column. There are what, 2 rows and 2 column. So now remember that this matrix has 2 rows and 2 columns of elements, 2 rows and 2 columns of element, and it is said to have what, order of what, 2 by 2. Now when a matrix has 2 row 2 column, it is said to what, have an order of what, 2 by 2. For example, this matrix have how many row? It has what, 2 row, which is 1 2, and it has how many column? 3. 1 2 3. So this matrix is said to have what, an order of what. So remember, you call how to pronounce it, the row comes before what, the column. So we are going to say that since this is having how many rows? 2 rows and 3 columns. We are going to say it's an order of what, 2 by 3. The matrix is an order of what, 2 by 3. So similarly, the matrix, if you have a matrix, for example, matrix like 3 2 5 4 1 3, we can say that how many rows are here? Look at, there are 3 rows. 1, this is the first row, 1 2 3, and how many columns are here? 2 columns, 1 2. So I can say that this matrix is in the order of, you remember, you pronounce the row before the columns, which should be what, 3 by 2. 3 by 2, because it has 3 rows and 3 rows of element and 2 columns of element. So in general, a matrix with n row and n column is said to have an order of n by n, n by n, to have an order what, n by n. So a matrix with only 1 row of element is called a row matrix. A matrix with only 1 row of element is called what, a row matrix. That kind of matrix will be something like this. Okay, we have something, if we have something like this, the matrix, this kind of matrix, for example, is a row matrix and has an order of 1 by 3. It has an order of what, 1 by 3, because of it having how many row? 1 row and 3 column, which is 1 2 3. So this is a what, a this is what, a row matrix. So similarly, a matrix with only 1 column of elements is called a column matrix. A matrix with only 1 column of elements is called what, a column matrix. So this is the way you write such matrix. So this is how you write it. So a matrix like this is called what, a column matrix, because it's having how many column? Just 1 column, and how many rows? 3 rows. So don't forget, a matrix with only 1 row of elements is called a row matrix. A matrix with only 1 column of element is called what, a column matrix. So this is an example of how do you pronounce it, when what order is this? So you call this what, a 3 by, it has in 3 rows, so you call it a 3 by 1 what, order. So a matrix will be denoted, the way you denote a matrix will be denoted with what, a capital letter. For example, this is what, let's say this is A is equal to this. A matrix will be denoted with what, a capital boldface letter, while the element of the matrix are denoted by small letters, which are suffixed with, which uniquely define the exact position of each element in the small letter A subscript 1 1, small letter A subscript 1 2, and small letter A subscript 1, okay, 2 1, small letter A subscript 2 2. So now I say that a matrix will be denoted by a boldface capital letter, while the element of the matrix are denoted by small letters, which with suffix which uniquely define the exact position of each element in what the arrays. So now, if you consider this matrix, this A, the element A subscript 1 1 is in the first row and the first column. It means that this element is in what the first row and what the first column. Look at the position of this. It is in what the first row and what the first what column. Like this. Look at this. So now A subscript 1 2 means that it is what in the what first row in the second column. This is what A subscript 2 1 means that it is what in the second row and the first column. The second row and what the first column. A subscript 2 2 means what it is what in the second row and also what in the second column. So in general, the elements A subscript 2 2 means that it is what in the second row and what in the what second column. So for example, if I ask you, we have 2, 4, minus 2, and 3. What position is this 4 in this? What position is the element 4 in this matrix? The element 4 is in the position of what? The first row and what the second column. This is how you write it. You can see that 4 is equal to the first row and the second column. So the element 2 is equal to the first row and the first column. While the element 3 is equal to what? The second row and the second column. Likewise, the element minus 2 is equal to what? The second row and what? The first column. So these are all we have for today. So on our next class, I'm going to explain what an equality of a matrix is and also how to add and subtract matrices. So please like, share, and subscribe. See you on our next class.